Hi there, I'm Marty Owings, and I'm super excited today to be taking a look at a new line of paper and sketchbooks I discovered through my friends over at Wet Paint Art. SMLT is the name of the company, but whatever you call them, SMLT, lots to talk about, exciting new paper. Let's dive in. Well, I tried to order a really good variety of sketchbooks and papers from Wet Paint, and so we'll take a look at all of those today and dive into this. There's so much content, I split the video into two parts, but all of that's to come. Now, I picked up these, what you're going to see today, over at my local art store, Wet Paint, great little art store in my hometown of St. Paul, Minnesota. But the paper comes all the way from a town in Lithuania called Vilnius. And if you look up their address, you'll find they have a workshop or a plant there in Vilnius where they assemble this paper. I'm not sure that they source it or bring it in. I didn't see a fourdrinier in some of their footage and promotional videos, but I saw a lot of assembly going on. So this is probably where they assemble these sketchbooks. They were established back in 1994. They have a good website. You can go there. I'll put a link down in the description, and you can see the wide variety of paper types they have. I'm also ordering another sketchbook from Wet Paint that's made by this company that is 100% cotton. This paper that we're going to look at today is what I believe to be alpha cellulose paper. It's acid-free, but probably wood pulp, mix of cotton and wood pulp based paper. I don't have their paper recipe. A lot of companies don't want to share their paper recipe, but it would be nice to know how the sizing on the paper is done, because it really feels a lot to me like very, very high quality, well-made paper. I'm just not sure where it's sourced, and that would be interesting to know as well. But I wanted to get a good variety of the papers to test out, so I got like, 5 or 6 books here of different types, including watercolor paper and just plain sketching paper. So these are the two notebooks I'm going to start with in this video, and I'll get to the bigger ones and the watercolor paper in the second part, a second video as part 2 of this. This was a huge, giant sketchbook I ordered. I had to zoom out the camera all the way to just to even get this book in the frame. It's ginormous. And it's well made. You can see it's well constructed. It's got a spiral bound up there at the top. It's got this heavy duty cardboard, so you've got a nice stable surface on which to, sketch. Even if you wanted to lay this in your lap and sketch, you could do that very easily. It's not going to bend too much on you. So all the information as well is on the front of these, which I like. It's very clear. What's in the paper, how many sheets it is, what size it is, that it's acid-free. I believe it to be, like I said, alpha cellulose based, but I don't have a lot of information on that, so that's an assumption on my part. So we'll start with the toned and the white paper. Again, these are sketchbooks, not, I think, multimedia, meant to be for like wet media, but you know what? I'm going to just put them to the test anyway. So that should be fun. And let's see how well they do. So start out, just wanted to put some watercolor down, and I had some watercolor left over in this dish. So I figured, what the heck? So just wanted to lay some stuff down and see if I'd get any buckling or, pronounced pilling or anything from the paper. And I got none of that. So that's the mark of a pretty high quality paper, especially paper that's not made to handle watercolor or wet media. Now, I'm not doing big wet on wet stuff here, but you'll see in a second here, I'm going to add layers and do glazing. I'm just going to, spheres is kind of like my go-to for testing out some papers and paints and stuff like that. So I'll draw a few here, paint a few. Now, I did do a little wet on wet there. And you know what? Fine, no problems. There's no lifting of the paper. There's none of that pilling you get. And I'm really going to work this paper out here. You'll see. So I'm just going in again, adding some color, a little bit of titanium white there to do some tonal blending. And that's layer 2 or 3 there. I'm not done yet. I'm going to put another layer on that thing before it's all said and done. And I'll just do the last sphere here. They kind of look like planets, man. I kind of like the way when you're messing with watercolor, it could just do funny things, and you're trying to get tonal values and crazy things can happen. But yeah, it's pretty cool. So, yep, that's at least the 4th layer over that red sphere. And here I'm just trying to add a little bit of, I don't know, dimensional value here. Get the back, kind of paint the background a little bit to pop that red out. So it kind of looks cool. And then, if that weren't enough, I want to test out graphite on it, because obviously it's a sketchbook. You want to test out graphite and ink. So that's kind of my next chore. So here is, I'm using a TK9400 Faber-Castell lead holder. It's got a hard lead in it, like a 2H or something like that. And then I'll switch to a different, this one right here, this black pencil here. This is actually a lead holder by Caran d'Ache. It's got a much softer lead in. But you can see the texture in the paper there. As I darkened in that bottom sphere, you can see the texture of the paper, which I think is kind of a cool effect. If you don't want that, obviously, you wouldn't like that, but I liked it. And you can see here, man, I just worked that paper out, and it handled it just fine. So I figured, okay, the tone paper is pretty similar. So let me see if I can draw this chicken here, and that one down in the corner is just a little bit of a thumbnail. Make sure I got everything right. So I'm just going over it very lightly with a pencil here, but then I'm going to use a variety of watercolor and gouache here. And if you're interested in any of the gear here, I'll put some links down in the description. Again, this is going to be a 2-part video, mainly because there's just so much to cover with this paper. And I've got it all shot and ready to go. I just have to put it together, do a little narration, and then kick out the part 2. But for part 1, so far, very impressed with this paper. And coming up, I'll use the watercolor paper and the pad, and we'll check out how that does as well, because that's quite a bit heavier than this paper. But yet and still, I mean, this is sketchbook paper, and it's taken everything I can throw at it so far in this painting. I mean, there's 3, 4, 5 different layers of paint there. There's no substantial buckling or lifting of the paper. It just held up really nice. I like it. And, plucky, plucky, that's my pun here because I'm drawing a chicken. Plucky little paper company over in Lithuania producing some really nice paper. If you get a chance, pop over to the website, click the blue follow button, follow me on any social media platform. I looked up the other day and I had 800 followers on Instagram, which is pretty cool. I just started that account a while back, maybe a couple of years, but join me over on Instagram if you want. I post there quite frequently. I posted a time lapse of the chicken I just did, but I'll look forward to seeing you for part 2. Look at this SMLT paper. Should be fun. See you then. So long for now. This has been Marty for owingsart.com.